Okay, are you new to manifesting and really struggling to understand it or how to implement the laws or the techniques? Okay, stick around because this video is for you. I'm going to go over the fundamentals that you need to know to begin to apply it intentionally in a way that will work for you. Welcome to Patty's World, where we talk everything manifestation, mindset, and lifestyle, how to create your dream lifestyle because you're absolutely worthy of creating the life you want. And today I want to talk about the basics, the fundamentals. I think I forget that I understand this a little bit better than most people. And I've been asked a couple of times, can you explain it a little bit simpler? Because there's some of us who don't understand what you mean when you say 3D or 4D or everyone is you pushed out, or a lot of the manifesting wordings that you'll hear, phrases or idioms that you'll hear from many coaches or mentors or guides or whatever people want to call themselves. Essentially, it's just the way we understand the manifesting approach. And even throughout time, there's various different teachers from Abraham Hicks to Neville to Joe Dispenza. There's different approaches in how people approach and think and refer to conscious creation. So I'll try to break that down for you in the simplest ways in order for you to begin your manifesting life and understand how everything works. First of all, this is conscious creation. And what this means is, well, let me explain it to you how most people operate, how I used to operate, how you're probably have been operating for most of your life is that whatever you see in your external reality, in your physical world, whatever you can perceive with your five senses, we're talking about sight, taste, hearing, touch, smell, is what you're going to believe and assume. And that's what you're going to base your thoughts on, whatever you're perceiving in your physical external reality. And based on that, you're going to create a reference in your mind, in your conscious mind, because you're awake. And most of 2/3 of your life, you spend it awake. 1/3 you spend it asleep. But 2/3 of your life, you're awake, observing your external reality, and you're creating thoughts, which create your beliefs, which create your assumptions. And based on that, you're creating a certain pattern or lifestyle or approach to life, your beliefs and assumptions. And so let's say something happens in your external world. Someone is rude to you or mean to you. Based on that, that person is rude to me. So I'm going to assume that there's something wrong with me. And based on that, I'm going to create an assumption or a belief about myself because that person treated me a certain way. And so I'm going to assume that it's reflective of me or of them or of the situation, or I'm going to feel like a victim to that person because that person was rude to me. And so I'm going to externalize it, but I'm going to point the finger at them because they're the ones with the problem because they were rude to me. And so that's how most of us live our lives. Something happens in the outside world and we react and respond to it. And we assume that we have no control over what happens to us because we think, well, I have no control over how that person, whether that person is nice or rude to me. And so we can assume that that's a rude person and I don't like them because they're rude to me. Then we can also take it a step further and assume there's something wrong with us because that person's being rude to me. And so they must know something and I'm not good enough or worthy. And that's where we attach meanings to things that aren't necessarily real. But if enough people are rude to us, we're going to assume that there's something wrong with us. And so a lot of people, like I said, spend their lives reacting to what's happening outside of them. Conscious creation, no matter how you want to approach it, whether it's law of attraction, law of assumption, or any of the other spiritual universal laws. But in this video, for simplicity's sake, I'm approaching it through law of assumption and through self-concept. And law of assumption, Neville Goddard was really the father of law of assumption and law of assumption techniques, although there are other teachers. Dr. Joseph Murphy taught subconscious mind programming, but that's more about the teachers. But there are other people who assume this law of assumption. And essentially what this is, or what this teaches, is that whatever you assume and believe to be true about yourself and the world around you is what you're going to experience in your outside world. It's exactly the opposite of the way most people approach their life in the 3D, the physical reality, which I refer to. It's what you hear called as the 3D, the third dimension, your physical external reality that you perceive with your five senses. Now, Law of assumption teaches the opposite. Whatever we're creating in our minds, whatever we're telling ourselves based on our thoughts, which create our beliefs, which create our assumptions, it's what is going to show up in our external reality. And that talks about a fourth dimension, the world of imagination, the world of energy, not what you can perceive with your five senses, not the physical reality, but the world of creation. That's why it's called creative consciousness or conscious creation. It's not what you can perceive with your five senses, it's what you're assuming and believing and creating in your imagination. That is what's playing out in your 3D reality. And the empowering thing about this is that it gives you the power to change circumstances, to change your life, to change everything. Because when we understand this, we understand that the only moment that exists in our consciousness is the present. Everything else we're creating in our minds. The past is gone. But when we keep talking about the past and rehashing it in our minds and re-talking about it and recreating it, we're staying in that energy. And even though we are not experiencing it actively in our 3D, we're still talking about it and creating beliefs and assumptions around it. So we believe that is the truth. And we stay in that cycle, in that hamster wheel of beliefs and assumptions about a certain person or situation or scenario or relationship or circumstance. And that's, again, how most people function. As I said, this is the opposite. The only moment that exists is the present. And the world of 4D is in your imagination. So, based on that, we can tell our minds, our imagination, to create new things. We can create new thoughts, we can believe new things, and we can assume new beliefs based on what we want to intentionally draw into our lives. Now, you understand that there's a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you're operating off of when you're awake 2/3 of your life. Your subconscious mind is that software that's programmed in the back of your mind. And here's what you need to understand, that most of us, all of us really, are operating off of our subconscious programming that was hardwired into us from our childhood. I think by the age of 7 or 8, our subconscious is programmed. So it's how our parents treated us, how siblings treated us, the world we grew up around, the culture, society, religion, what was going on in the world. And based on that, we're going to create beliefs and assumptions about ourselves and experiences as well. That can result in subconscious programming. And based on that, we're operating by default based on that subconscious programming. Now, there are times when we can reprogram our subconscious mind. When we're asleep, right before we're going to sleep, which is the theta brainwave cycle, or when we're coming out of sleep, in meditation, or in the state akin to sleep, stats, which is SATs, which is what Neville Goddard talks about. But there are ways that you can reprogram your subconscious mind by repetition. Of course, you can do it while you're wide awake, because your subconscious mind is always listening and perceiving. It doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. Whatever your conscious mind says and believes and speaks, your subconscious mind is programming into your mind, your thoughts and beliefs. So, really, what you're operating off is that subconscious brain that you want to rewire and reprogramming, because you want to get rid of those limiting beliefs that you're operating off of. Now, if you sit down with yourself and examine all the limiting beliefs and things that you think about, whether it's with money or love or health or whatever situation, it's based off of beliefs that you have, that someone taught you, or religion, or someone said, or your experience. And you believe this and you're living off of this. And as long as you keep reaffirming this belief, it'll stay with you and you will recreate the same kind of experiences. So the core, I didn't mean to hit my microphone there. I'm a hand talker. The core of changing anything is changing your subconscious mind, reprogramming. And that's where self-concept comes in, your concept of self, because you're operating off of that subconscious programming. You want to change your concept of self, because if you change your concept of self, it'll automatically change the world outside of you. Your internal mind, your imagination, is the cause, and the external world is the effect. So, again, because we are the creators in our mind, in the 4D, we create it first in our imagination, in our mind, based on our beliefs and our assumptions. We reaffirm and stay in that belief, in that mindset that we are the ones that are creating our beliefs. So, what we want to do is imprint new beliefs, new thoughts into our subconscious mind to then get different results in our external world. And there's a myriad of techniques that you can do this: meditation, affirmations, sleep tracks. You can do EFT tapping, you can do scripting, you can do, there's just a myriad of ways. Journaling, that you can reprogram your subconscious mind. That's why the foundation of everything when it comes to manifesting and conscious creation is always working on your self concept. You want to change the concept of self. You want to change what you think and believe and assume about yourself and a situation and the world outside of you. So, for example, if you want to attract a partner or an SP or somebody into your life, instead of externally trying to force or chase a situation, what you do is change the beliefs that you have about yourself. Whether it's I'm not chosen, I'm not wanted, I'm not loved, you reaffirm new beliefs about yourself, telling yourself, I'm always loved, I'm always chosen, people love me, I have a partner who loves me, and you live and create from that place. And so the assumption is, through this new way of thinking, is that you're not stuck because you're able to change a situation in our mind and imagine it differently and imagine a different ending and create, re-engineer from the end, go to the end, create the ending, create an ending in our imagination that implies we have our desire. It's already created. It's a very empowering thing because it gives you the power to change yourself, which thus then changes your external circumstances. And really, at its simplest teaching or form or definition, it's that whatever you believe to be true is what you're going to experience in your external reality. As within, so without. So, whatever you're thinking, which creates your beliefs and assumptions, is what you're going to live out in your external reality. Your predominant thoughts, the thoughts that create your mood about something or your belief about something. So, you're not stuck because if you go within and you change that, you change what you believe about something, you imagine it how you want to see it, then you're consciously creating it. And the imagination first happens within because we believe it and feel it real in our imagination. And thus we will experience it in our external reality. So it always gives you the power, the assumption that you can create whatever you want and align with whatever you want in your life. And the most powerful tool to do this is your imagination. Knowing how to use your imagination as a tool to consciously create the life you want and to consciously create different beliefs about yourself and imprint different beliefs about yourself in your subconscious mind. Of course, the best time to do that is during meditation, affirming, mirror work, right as you're falling off to sleep. And Neville has chapters on this. And the period before you're going to go to sleep is so critical because that's when you're going into theta brain wave. Your subconscious is susceptible to reprogramming. So, whatever you're thinking about and imagining before you go to sleep and as you're drifting off is what is going to imprint in your subconscious mind. The same thing goes when you wake up. And even whatever you're speaking, you want to be careful what you're saying, what you're calling into your life, because your subconscious mind is always absorbing and listening, and you're creating subconscious belief, which again, you operate off of. So, this is an incredible way to think and approach your life because you are able to say, oh, I can change this. I can believe new things about myself. And when you go from I am not loved, I'm not wanted, I'm not chosen to I am loved, I am chosen, I'm a priority, I am successful, I am wealthy, money comes to me frequently and easily, you're creating new beliefs which are imprinting your subconscious mind. And if they're real in your 3D, remember your mind is a cause, the effect, the 3D reality as the shadow, as the effect, must follow. And it's only time before it reflects it in your external world. The subconscious will move to align you with what you believe, with what you assume to be true. So at the core, no one to change but the concept of self. And if you go from that place, if you believe from that place, you're able to transform your entire life. And so you wouldn't see all these coaches and all these people talking about manifestation if it didn't work. For me personally, I can tell you I have transformed, not first and foremost, myself, who I am and what I believe about myself. I'm a completely different person because I was able to change the beliefs and assumptions I had about myself. So the peace, the self love, who I am at the core of myself has changed. So I align with more elevated experiences and people, relationship situations. Everyone treats you better. You treat yourself better. You have higher standards. And every experience that you go through is more elevated, from wealth to health to relationships to love, because you are creating intentional, positive beliefs about yourself. You really get to be the architect of your life. And it is amazing because the more awareness you have, the more awareness you will continue to have. This is transformational. It truly is. It's transformed my life. It's transformed many other people's lives. Even if you think about it from the place of what we're affirming, if you're living from lack and focusing on lack, you're magnifying lack, and you will continue to attract lack and align with lack in your life. But if you focus on abundance and give gratitude for abundance and feel from abundance and affirm from abundance, you will align with abundance in your life. It's as simple as that. Whatever your thoughts are that are running through your mind, your predominant thoughts that are circulating in your mind, that are creating your beliefs, that lead to your assumptions about yourself, that is essentially what is creating the quality of your life. So you want to change a situation in your 3D, you first change it in your 4D, in your imagination. You create movie scenes, imaginal scenes from the end, from the wish fulfilled, from the desire as if you already have it. And here's the question. Here's a question that will shift everything for you. Who would you be if you were the person who already had what they wanted? Think about that for a couple of seconds. Who would you be? The person who already has their desire, their relationship, the money, the wealth, the health. Who would you be? How would you behave? How would you think? From that place is where you need to be living your life to draw in circumstances. And the more you assume that identity of the person who has what they want and it imprints on your subconscious mind, you will align with it in your external world. Everything from there is just practice, doing it over and over and over. The repetition, the consistency, doing it every day, it is a lifestyle. It is a profoundly different way of thinking and approaching life because we go from within to without. As within, so without, versus the opposite approach, being reactive to your external world. This way, you create it within, you believe from within, and your external world will reflect it. It is a mirror. It is a mirror of what you feel and believe about yourself. Think about it that way and then watch it transform your life. And I just want to reaffirm this, that you're absolutely worthy of living the most amazing life and aligning with all the desires of your heart. It stems from you, and you have the power to change everything. Now, you want to know how to reprogram your subconscious mind? I do have a Manifestation Mastermind course that it's self-paced and you can work on it on your own. It's all in my bio. You can find more information. I also have some meditations that you should be doing every day. You should be meditating every day. You can also find those. I have a playlist for all my meditations and I'm actively creating some more. If you have a request for one, I can create one for you. Just message me here in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and love to hear your feedback as well. And thanks for following me on this video. See you on the next one.